But yeah, something that I did when I was in Texas with Jason, the last video that I put out, or the one before the last, yeah, the one before the last, it was actually a discussion we had on the Great Wall of China. And Jason had figured out that it's not Chinese, it's built by Romans. And it makes sense that it's built by Romans, folks. I mean, 13 to 16 feet wide. This is the standard size of Roman roads. You don't find this anywhere in China. The guard towers being exactly 5,000 peads apart, which is 1 Roman mile. Why would the Chinese be using measurements of 1 Roman mile? So it's obviously Roman. It's Roman construction. Well, it was probably built by the Chinese, but under Roman direction. And it makes perfect sense that this was not a defensive wall. This was a trade route. This was the old Silk Road. It's interesting too, like it's sort of high, it's at least 20 feet high. It makes you wonder where the term highway came from, doesn't it? Yeah, you got to ask questions like that. And also, like, there's 5,000 of these towers. Well, there's actually 25,000 of these towers. The road is 5,000 miles long, or the wall, or the road, whatever you want to call it. It's 5,000 miles long. There's a tower every mile, and yet there are 25,000 towers. So you've got to look at the math there. How does that work? Well, it's because there's all of these side roads going off, side walls going off. And, you know, if this was a defensive wall, why would it have exits? Why would it have other walls going off in different directions, apparently leading to old settlements that used to be there? Why would it have a tower every 1 mile? And some people said, oh, look, it's obvious it's not a road because they would never have got horses through those doorways and the towers. They wouldn't have used horses, folks. They would have used peons. They would have used coolies. You know, guys with big, huge backpacks. They still use them. They're still around in Nepal and China. They're very famous. They even have statues for them because it's considered to be one of the oldest, if not the oldest profession, is a porter. You know, coolies, peons, carrying these huge backpacks. And you think about it, they would have had backpacks going through, because the Romans or the Chinese, whoever was running this business of the wall, of the road, would have had people going through checkpoints, check their inventory every 1 mile, check what they're doing. The doorways are big enough to get a peon with a backpack through, and you'd have guards there checking their load, checking what they're doing, checking where they're going, all the way through it. You've even got areas of the road where there are bypasses. So you can go through one tower and you can bypass your way around the crowd that's probably waiting to be checked through the other side. But they wouldn't have had horses, folks. You're not going to want to have horses going along the tower. Maybe 1 or 2, maybe some of the guards had horses. But you're not going to want a whole tribe of people going up and down this wall on horses and donkeys and all that sort of stuff. You're going to end up with horse shit all over the road. No one's going to want to clean that up. It's only 1 mile between each tower. So they have people walking that have peons with backpacks. And then when the road's congested, well, they've got bypasses around certain sections. There's areas where you've got like 5 or 6 exits going off across the hill to various places. This is not a defensive wall, folks. This is a trade route, and it's obviously a trade route. Like I said, once you see it, it's very difficult to unsee it. You notice some of the towers, some of the guard towers have got little Chinese pagodas erected on top to make them look Chinese. But when you look at it, I mean, like this picture, there's that one tower at the front that's got the Chinese pagoda on it. But all behind it, it's all just normal towers. And that one tower that is the Chinese pagoda actually looks like it's made out of different rock. It looks like it's made out of cinder blocks, different to what the rest of the tower is made of. So you've got to, you know, wonder about all this sort of stuff, folks. They just kind of erect these things to make it fit their narrative. But really it doesn't. It's a Roman road, and it's obviously a Roman road. Why would you have all these exits? There's another question people were saying. I mean, if you look at the official narrative, and other people are saying as well, it doesn't end in the sea. Well, it does. Pictures indicate that it does end in the sea. Oh no, that's the beach. Well, it's the beach because some of these pictures are low tide, but when you look at pictures of high tide, it actually ends in the sea. And I would suggest that this piece that's jutting out, because it's got battlements all around it, it's more of a guard area. It's more the place where they would have been watching the shipping and guarding things and making sure there were no invaders and just keeping an eye on all the ports around the place. And when you look at that whole area, you look at it on Google Earth, you find that there are flat platforms all around that tower where there would have been goods that were loaded and stocked. And you look at the general area now when you scout around that bay, which is near Shanghai, what's the rest of the bay used for? Well, it's ports, of course. And look, you've got all these towers jutting out into the sea because these are all service routes and these are all ports and loading docks. But then you've got this one brick tower, this piece of the wall sticking out into the centre. So, oh no, that was not a loading dock. That was nothing to do with sea transport. That's just where the wall ended. Yeah, right, of course. Everything sticking out into the ocean are all seaports and loading docks, but not this one. No, not this one. This is the Great Wall of China. Sure it is. Sure it is, folks. Everything they tell you is a scam. It's unbelievable.